G'day and welcome to the Knitwits and Yarns YouTube channel. Today I'm going to give you a real live look into my life as a knitter. A little bit of the bad, I guess, because I'm going to be frogging my sleeve, or what I've done of my sleeve. If you hear any barking or scratching around, that's because my sister's dogs are here. I'm having to look after them for the next week or so. There's one right here. Cooper, come on. So she has two miniature sausage dogs, and this one's Cooper. He's a little bit naughty, and the other one's outside. He's a bit lazier, so his name's Kramer, but hopefully they don't cause too much mayhem when I'm trying to film. But we're talking about frogging today. For those that don't know, frogging is what knitters and crocheters call ripping out our projects or our yarn. And it comes from, it's a bit corny, but it comes from when frogs go ribbit, and it sounds the same as rip it. So yeah, we're gonna have to frog that. The reason why is because I'm making my Checkmate sweater, and we have 4 colors here. So this is one that's already been completed, and you can see that these 2 browns are pretty similar, and the one that I'm doing now is shades of blue and gray, and this dark blue and this gray are pretty similar, and when they kind of are knit together, I guess, they clash a bit. So I've had to rip out or frog this project twice already because of the color combinations, and surprisingly we've gone back to my original color combination. So I'm glad that I frogged the previous efforts, because I wanted to see if it actually worked any better. But yeah, back to the original, but I'm happy I gave it a go. I don't know if you can see it here, but we've got the dark blue at the bottom and the dark gray at the top, and I think they just clash way too much. So what we do is we pull our needles out and we just start pulling, I guess. And I'm going to start pulling this whilst I keep talking about my Checkmate sweater. So it's been a bit of a challenge. Well, I've already gotten rid of the one color, and now I need to get rid of the second color, and we just ball it up. But yeah, it's been a bit of a challenge with this jumper because of the colors, and you can hear my dog. So my dog's Buddy, you've probably seen him on my Instagram. He'll start making some noise and rolling around. But yeah, where was I? I've gone into some troubles because I've got the 4 colors, and the 4 colors are pretty similar. And when they're so similar, they're kind of clashing a bit. And it's hard to kind of tell what a color will look like just from looking at the hank or the skein or the ball. And sometimes you actually have to knit up an actual piece to double check to make sure it kind of fits. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment. I've given it a go and I've tried to knit with different colors, but it just hasn't worked. So that means I have to start frogging it. And I mean, it sounds, I guess, minimal. I don't know, is that the word? I guess it sounds like it's something that I don't really need to do and I can just get over it. But because these are patterns, or these are jumpers that I want to feature in my patterns, I need to make sure that they're perfect and that they're right to the pattern. So that's really important. When I first started knitting, I would just kind of go with the flow, and if I made a mistake, just go with it. And yeah, but as I've gotten more experienced and each of my creations has become a pattern, I've had to make sure that they really work out. So that's where I am at the moment with this. And the problem with this Checkmate sweater, or the problem that I was having, was I was overthinking the colors way too much, because I wanted 4 different colored ribs. So I've got 4 different colors, and we've got a collar rib, we've got 1 sleeve rib, or 2 sleeve ribs, sorry, and the body rib. So that's 4 colors, and I wanted to even out the rib colors, and then I wanted to make sure that none of the colors kind of touched each other, or the same colors touched each other. So it was a bit of a challenge to make sure that it actually worked, and also using the same amount of yarns. So it's just these little things that I guess I wasn't really thinking about, that kind of made me change the colors around as I went. It's currently getting tested, and hopefully it will be released at the end of May, hopefully. And I'm also testing one as well, so I'm doing it with my testers. The idea of testers is to, I guess, test the pattern, and also to take photos of the different color combinations, because as you can see behind me, my colors are pretty neutral and bland. And it's nice when testers kind of use different colors. So we're towards the end. I'm going to keep the rib for this one because the rib is the right color that I wanted. And in a future video, I will show you how to actually pick up stitches, because a lot of people get daunted by the idea of picking up stitches. I have got a needle around, but picking up stitches is as simple as just threading them back on. You need to thread them the right way and use a smaller needle. But essentially, I've already got, what, 2, 4, 6, 7 stitches already back onto my needle. So yeah, I'll give you a tutorial of how to do that in the future. But I have frogged my sleeve and it's time to start it again. And I need to find the start to actually wind it back up. But yeah, I wouldn't get, and also another thing, you can notice that it's a bit crinkly. This is what happens when you have knit the yarn into a project and it's been there for a little while. I think this is only a couple of days, maybe a week, but it does crinkle up a bit. So one suggestion is that you can roll it or wind it back into a hank. So the hanks are I haven't got one on me, but they're the ones that you have to wind into balls. You can put it into a hank and then soak it in water and it kind of fluffs it back up and it brings it back to life. And it gets rid of some of these crinkles. So I think that's kind of important to do when you're reusing your yarn. Just make sure it has the same integrity as when it started, because yarn does change, it does have memory. So that's kind of important, but I'll talk about that in another episode. But now it's just time to wind it back up, and I'll tell you what color I am going to go for. So originally I was a bit skeptical of doing the color combination that I had on my pattern, because I felt like it was a bit too, I guess, methodical, and having 4 colors, I thought a little bit of chaos, I guess chaos in a sense might be good. But I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm just going to have this same 2 colors above each other on one sleeve and these 2 on the other side, and just keep it nice and simple. I'm going to change the ribs though. So the ribs will be the point of difference. You can kind of see it in my finished one here. So we've got 2 blocks here, same sleeve, but a different rib. So yeah, I think it works out, and definitely overthinking, but when you're doing a pattern, I think it's good to overthink. So I'll finish winding this up. This was my real live frogging of my sleeve, and I'll get knitting on that sleeve straight away. But yeah, I wouldn't be afraid to frog your work if you're not happy with it. I think it's important that you're happy with what you produce, because you're putting in a lot of time, and sometimes yarn can cost a lot of money. So it's always good to have a garment that you're actually going to wear and that you're actually going to enjoy. So I wouldn't be afraid to do it. I'll upload some videos or some tutorials on how to pick up stitches, because that's an important part of frogging, picking up those stitches again. But if you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe, chuck us some comments on any frogging disasters that you may have had. But I hope you enjoy your knitting, and not too much frogging is done.